This is Rahul here for Punch Out Boxing, and I am delighted to be joined by the Borough Balboa, as you call yourself, Will Howe, 22-year-old heavyweight prospect from Middlesbrough. How are you, Will?
I'm very well. How are you, pal? How are you?
Yeah, fab. It's a nice day down here in London. Don't know what it's like up in Middlesbrough. Here it's always grey,
Oh,
but you guys are
been raining the last 2 days. Just
typical
been
northeast.
raining. Yeah, typical northeast. Yeah.
That's all right. Breeds you strong. So Will, as I said, you're a 22-year-old heavyweight. I wondered where I'd heard your name before. Then I looked at your record and remembered you made your debut on the Boxer card in Manchester.
Yeah,
Um,
last year.
yeah, so not a bad card to have made your debut on. But since then, only two fights. But you're out again in a couple of weeks. But before we go into
Yeah.
that, we could just introduce yourself. I looked at your amateur records, a few names that I recognize on there. Yeah, just tell us about your boxing background.
Well, I was always boxed. I've always boxed from I think about 9 year old. I've started boxing, uh, because it was so big. I could never get a fight. Could never ever get a fight. And I didn't really start fighting. I had two fights when I was 13, and then sort of there was no one around the air, like around England or Britain, that I could get a fight with. So I ended up going from that. Played a lot of rugby, end up with like England squads and rugby and stuff like that, and then I sort of turned back to boxing at about 15.
Mhm.
After I had a bad ankle injury playing rugby, started boxing, and I just turned around and said, I want to box. And luckily, then there was an open category of 80 plus as a junior, and my career's just flourished from there. Really, I said I went from I won a European bronze in under 10 fights. Um, I won four national titles back to back. Won the four belts. I think it was only me, Adam Azim, that had done that for so many years, like 15, 16 years. We won the two juniors, the two youths, coming through. I was obviously a two-time European medalist, three-time British champion, Tri-Nations champion. I was selected for the World Championships before COVID had struck. So I had a bit of bad luck there, but I'm absolutely uh, flourishing in achievements within the amateur scene of boxing. It's just sort of why I turned over. Really, it was one of the main things. I think everyone always says it suits me better in this, but when you actually watch me fight, I was never an amateur boxer. I done really well. I was more stand brawl in the pocket sort of stand up fighter. I was never a boxer, stand up tall and jab and move and try and box. I was more try and catch the shots and let your shots go.
Mhm.
Um, Offensive, defensive fighter. They say your defense is your offense, so which is more suited to the pro game.
That's quite the pedigree, and as you said, you started young. So, is that often a problem for kids your size? There's, as you said, not many of you. So,
I feel like more, as I've got older, and especially in Middlesbrough now, I think there's about three or four lads boxing, young lads, 16, quite heavy kids in that 80 plus category. But when I first started boxing, you like it was like the one kid where who you could box was in Portsmouth. And if you look at Middlesbrough Portsmouth, it's like a 6.5 hour journey. So it's but it seems to be more now. And I think a lot of bigger kids are thinking, "Boy, if I can box and I can punch a little bit, I fancy my chances." Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
that's like you see now, heavyweight boxing is just flourishing in it. The heavyweight scene, and there's that many heavyweights just coming through all the time. I think it's a massive division at the moment, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what can happen. Um, yeah, definitely, it was. I really struggled coming through because there was never no one to box. It was always like miles away, Brighton or Portsmouth or the top ends of Scotland. It was always like 5 hour journeys where
Mhm.
people were hiding really. So the only chances I ever got was to box in the championships. So that's why I ended up being obviously a four-time national champion, beating some good kids along the way. And obviously I boxed as a as part of the England squad, and I must have had 16, 17, 18, probably I would say maximum 19 caps for England. boxing in Europeans championships. Obviously being selected for the worlds, not getting a chance to box in them, but I feel like I was really, really well skilled as an amateur.
Yeah, yeah, your record speaks for itself, and perfect time, as you said, to enter the heavyweight division. I really think it's going to be a great era for you as a young heavyweight. I think the old guard, I think it's fair to say, at the top level, they're all sort of on their last legs. I think it's fair to say. And there's a lot of you youngsters coming through. As you said, it's flourishing. Just wonder, with your background, that great amateur pedigree, how comes you've only had the two fights? It seems like you're not being as active as maybe you want.
I obviously I've had three. I've
Three,
had
yeah,
three.
sorry.
I thought obviously I had a great debut with Sky. On Sky at the AO Arena in Manchester, huge arena. It was probably a great debut. And then that was with Savannah under Peter Fury.
Mhm.
And to be honest, since then I boxed 2 months after, and it seemed like it was going to be a smooth sailing ship. Um, but I was meant to box 2 months after. 6 weeks after that, the lad pulled out. I ended up having an exhibition. It was the last minute thing. I'd sold a lot of tickets. It wasn't the best option, to be honest. I didn't really want to do it, but I'd sold that many tickets. I put out a massive thing. I said, only thing I can get, it's an exhibition. If you want your money back, I understand if you want to come. But most people are like, listen, if you're boxing, we're happy to come watch you. Um, and then the next at that, so obviously I missed the fight there. Had a bit of time off to come back in February. Said I'll start fresh in the new year. Was meant to fight. The opponent pulled out a week before. Only opponent could get was Daryl Sharp. It was really, I mean, it was only the best option we had. He didn't show up on the night. He said he was coming, agreed to it all, didn't show up to the night, and then I fought. Luckily, I fought a great French lad called Hasan Ali. What really pushed me up the rankings. Really, he was really good. He was a Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist. So it was a hard fight. It was a lot harder than what it looked, because a lot of my punches, he was sort of bringing me in close and catching a lot. So it was really, and he was a big unit of a fella. He was 35, 36-year old man. He was strong, and he knew what to do. So that was a great fight. And I was meant to be back out in July, but my opponent got stopped, I think, about 3 weeks before. So it sort of just backtracked me. So I've had 3 or 4 fights, and I also went to London for a fight. It all got agreed by the board, and then on Friday, when I'd got to London, I got pulled up and said something had failed with his bloods, or his bloods hadn't got through in time. So out of the 3 fights that I've had, I should have really had another 4.
Mm.
But it's just like, it's boxing. I've grew up around it. I was a high level amateur. I've seen everything happen. So experience wise, like that, nothing really affects me. So um, it's just been one of them things where I've been like, well, is what it is. Maybe and the thing is, like I say, it's just the direction it takes you. Uh, so it's for me. I'm not thinking, oh, I should have been 7-0. I just think that's the direction I've been sent upon, really. So I'm happy. I'm 3-0. I'm up the rankings. If you look, there's a lot of people who've had 5, 6, 7, 8 fights behind me, and I know my pedigree. A lot of people say this, that, and the other. I've got a good team around me who guide me. They only want the best for me. There's opportunities out there to fight people, which I can take. If I want, to be honest, I'll take. I just listen to my team, what they think's best. As a heavyweight, every heavyweight will tell you themselves. The most guided, the most heavyweights are guided through. They think, take your time. There's no rush. Obviously, as an heavyweight, you could have 4 or 5 big fights in a year. Even at my level now, you could fight a few good people, but it's about it's a long career, isn't it? If you look, if you could, I could have another 18, 19 years if I really wanted to. So I just enjoy it, and just see. I'm just enjoying the journey at the moment, and just see how everything doesn't go to plan. But I think I just think it's the way it's meant to be, and like I said, I've got the experience, and you never lose that.
Yeah, fortunately you are young. So yeah, these setbacks, I'm sure they're frustrating, like you said, especially when you're selling tickets. I wonder, what is your management and coaching situation?
I was with Pete Fury. I come home, I had a little baby girl. Um, about I think a week after I boxed, my partner had give birth. I'd had my baby girl and I come home and now I'm currently with Jim Tyers and Adrian's Worth in Billingham training. Listen, two fantastic coaches are both I mean, Adrian grew up boxing all his life, and Jim, everyone in Jim's family boxes, and the three young lads, yeah, Jim's three young lads is young Jim, his eldest son, Joe Tyers, who was on GB, uh, and William Tyers, who's a great boxer. So he's got three great sons, and they've all boxed at national final level. Obviously George GB, Olympic qualifiers, and the rest of it recently as well. So do you know what I mean? They've got a great coaching team there, and it's a great unit.
Yeah, that does sound it. Just wondered, do you think being based up there in the northeast, you guys can get forgotten about it? I know certainly Steve Robinson, who's just up the road from you in Newcastle, he's
Yeah,
alluded to that. I mean, the guys, I've spoken to a lot of kids down here, London, Essex. It's like the promotional heartland of the country. Frank and
yeah,
Eddie, all the big promoters are just local to here. And so if you're from here, you get picked up. You guys might get forgotten about a bit.
yeah. I definitely agree with that. I think it sounds I feel wrong saying it, but yeah, definitely. I feel like London gets all the opportunities, definitely, and obviously why not? It's a capital. It's like anywhere in the world.
Mhm.
It's a big, massive city. It's the biggest city in Britain, London. So obviously, why wouldn't it? Get why wouldn't it be? But yeah, I think if I was in London, I was a London-based fighter, or like I'd boxed my full career in London. I think I would have probably had another seven fights. I'd have been on the radar, and this this sort of stuff happens. Listen, I've seen shows in London fall through, and that it happens anywhere. But yeah, I think it's. I don't think we've forgotten about. I think it's just a lot harder path um, than than it is down here, really, than it is down in London. So, but I've it's if you're meant to be up there, you'll be up there. I don't. If you're good enough, you're good enough. Look at Martin Bacoli. Martin Bacoli's, I think, been most avoided everywhere, probably ever. I think, but every time he fights, he's like phenomenal, isn't he? He looks like he's just brilliant, and I think, well, he's been avoided, and he's at the top end of the game. He's like in the shadow, isn't he? And I think he's phenomenal. I think he's fantastic. My favorite heavyweight's George Foreman, and he's probably, for me, probably better than George Foreman with faster hands. So it just happens to boxing. So if you're meant to be up there, you've got to get yourself in that limelight, and you've got to do it yourself. I've always said that it's not about letting other people do it and promote you and push you in any aspects of the sport. It's got to be you yourself, and you've got to make things happen. I can't rely on anyone. I can't rely on my coaching team. I can't rely. You get given opportunities by you, like you say, your managers and matchmakers might say, "Listen, you go to America and fight this, and if you win, you're up here." But their opportunities, what you got to take if you want to take them and to push yourself. But yeah, it is hard up here, and I think the shows are a lot harder and a lot harder to sell. It is from what it is in London, because in London there's a show every week. Up here, there's one every few weeks. So yeah, it's a massive difference. But listen, like I say, it always just comes back to the thing of that if you're meant to be up there, you're meant to be up there, and I don't um take any grudge for it.
Yeah, you said, and I'm sure your management will, as you said, with a heavyweight, guide you properly because you are younger. It's interesting. One of your old amateur opponents, Hasan Ali. I don't know if you saw a couple of weeks ago. He made his pro debut on TV. He got
Yeah,
stopped, and I think it shows the dangers of putting a kid in just for someone he's not ready with, ready for yet. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think he boxed a proper opponent, or he boxed a live opponent. I think the opponent was 3-0.
Hmm.
I boxed two kids out there. I boxed Hassan, and I boxed another. I think it was Uthman. He was a big unit of a fella. They were complete different boxers. He was little and short and quite little fast, but I think he's lost a lot of weight since he's boxed me. They're both good boxers, both really good boxers. But yeah, it isn't. I wouldn't say he was inexperienced out like that. It's one of them things. I think he was on late, wasn't he? They were talking about it after, and I think he boxed late. It's a lot of nerves. He sold 350 tickets, 400 tickets or something.
Yeah.
You're waiting all night to box. You start feeling heavy, and especially on your debut, because your professional career, where it matters in terms of amateurs, it's good, we're cheap, but you can lose a fight in amateur boxing. It's not the end of the world. You can box again. That's what I didn't really realise, but that's what I tell a lot of amateur boxers now. It's just a horrible feeling. But yeah, like I said, going back to Hasan Ali, listen, he'll come again. It may be an experience. Maybe that makes him world champion. Johnny Nelson, how many fights did Johnny Nelson lose? So it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean just a loss, in it. How many fights did Derek Chisora lost?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's just being cock cold, and it happens. It happens. I've been around the sport loads of times, sparring, fighting, just get cock cold, and it happens.
yeah, absolutely. Big serious fans, we accept it now that
Yeah, yeah.
there's only one Floyd Mayweather who's going to finish unbeaten. We don't, yeah, we don't put too much stock on it. I just wonder, like, so your next opponent on the 26th, is at Rainton Meadows, Phil Williams. I actually spoke to him just a couple of weeks ago. He's still going strong, and he's saying he's still going to make you every prospect. He's going to give you some work. So you know, he's one of the top journeymen in the country.
Yeah, listen, I think someone showed me it. He says, if you're a prospect, you've got to go through me. You've got to beat me. And so what? Yeah, you've got to. I think it's true. You've got to go through him. Obviously, I've meant to fight him twice now. For reasons of his own accord. I've not ended up fighting. So hopefully this time it's meant to be. But I'm looking forward to just getting out there back in there. And listen, I know Phil Williams. I've seen Phil Williams lose a couple of fights where I think he's actually won. So I know his record doesn't speak for itself. To be honest, it's not. He's not just in there to be a punch bag. If you let him into the fight, he gets into the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you been keeping an eye on the other youngsters coming through? You know, like I said, down here in London, there's a couple of youngsters I've spoke to recently. Gideon King, he was quite a top amateur. I think he's about the same age as you. There's Louis Paquetti, who's only a teenager. Up in Hull, I think there's ADRIAN King. He's also a teenager. Have you come across any of them in tournaments or
Yeah,
sparring?
listen, we all got to meet each other somewhere. We've got to meet each other somewhere along the line. So I feel it's one of them. When the time comes, it'll come. Obviously, I mean, I sparred a lot of rounds with Gideon. I've never done nothing with that Louis, but I've sparred Adrian King. I've done a lot of rounds with Gideon up at GB. So I mean, Gideon's a good prospect. He's a very solid fighter. He's quite he's a dangerous opponent really if you let him into it. He's quite an awkward fighter. But yeah, I don't really keep my eye on it. It changes all the time, doesn't it? People
Mhm.
come in, drop off. People come and go. They'll probably say the same about me. They'll say, "Oh, he's no good," or "He's this," or they all say the same. People come and go. I'm just wait. I just wait. Listen, it's all on my team. I'll take most fights. I'll take most fights. I'm just listening to my team at the moment. I think they want to give me a couple of fights. Like I said, I haven't been the most active. It's been quite a difficult process of getting me fights. For reasons not of my accord, but for reasons of people just dropping out, not showing up. So for me personally, I think I've just got to get in that ring on. I think I've lost I think about 18 days now. Now
Mhm.
it might be 19. Get back in that ring and show people what I'm capable of doing, which has been a top prospect, and obviously I've got a great opponent uh, to get in the ring with.
Sure. Would you like to go through the traditional route? I think that Northern area title is very neglected, and there's a couple of guys up your way. I mean,
Yeah,
Michael Webster, he's from the same town as you. I guess you come
yeah,
across
mate.
him.
Yeah, listen. I mean, Webster's quality operator. Webster is a quality operator, and we know each other very well. Me and Webster. So, but listen, if the time comes and it was to fight, if it's to fight for, I don't know if he'd want to fight for it. He's at English level now, isn't he? I think he'll get his. I think he's at them opportunities. Obviously, even Steve Robinson to fight for it. I've seen Daryl Hall. Daryl Hall's back on it from up
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
He's out. He's 20. He's 24 something in the country, I think. What they're ranking him. He's from up here. Fight with him. There's loads. There's loads. So I think it's a good title. Like you said, there, I think it is a neglected title, but I think there's not as many options as he is down south to fight for that title. So I've got it's just if anyone wants to fight for it, obviously, every fight, different preparations, and everyone's at different levels or different places in their career and what they want to do, and money wise, and if they want to fight for money or they want to fight for titles. But I think that'd be in there. I think, as I say, I've had a few opportunities and stuff like that now, fight for stuff, but I think I need to be a bit more active over these next few months and then start pushing on for stuff. Even like you say, Northern title or a few of these youth titles and that. I just need to get back out there and get back within the mix of it. But if I can, I'll definitely go down that British route. But listen, your career can lead you all over, can't it? Sometimes you go and fight for a Commonwealth title and then you end up fighting for the English title, and then you've got the English title and you're fighting for the European title, and then you're fighting for the British title. Do you know what I mean? It
yeah.
doesn't, the way boxing works, it doesn't necessarily mean you win the English fight for the British to the European. It's just, I think sometimes you get an opportunity to fight someone, you've just got to take it.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be the best talents that you've seen? Like if we exclude like the British guys who are at the top level, so that that maybe the guys British level and below. Who do you think are the best talents out there right now?
Moses Atoma,
Hmm.
definitely. Um, I feel Fury. Huey will be back in there. I know you could arguably say, well, he's up there, but at this moment in time, uh, you've got to be like, well, he's just coming back in, so he's just getting back into the frame. Obviously, um, but I'd say Moses Atuma is definitely destined to go at the top, and I've been in with him and that, and then I've done a fair few rounds with Moses, but he's an exceptional talent. I have to give his due. Um, and say that he is. But there's a few like I say like Huey, but now I'm thinking. Obviously, there's Solomon. I don't know, but is it? I don't. I can say I feel like we're all destined to meet somewhere. So I don't like singing everyone's praises. I don't really, but at the moment, I've just got to say Moses, and I'd probably say Huey because Huey's been there, and I think he's very, very underrated.
Yeah, a few people that have sparred with Moses say the same thing as you, and of course he's got that big step up in December against Dempsey McKean. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
put him well in the world mix. And how do you assess the world mix? I mean, of course, that big fight in December. Um, do you think Fury can avenge that loss? Usyk looks like
Yeah,
he's
listen,
way ahead.
he's capable, isn't he? Would it surprise you? It's a 50-50 fight, isn't it? He's still. But the thing is with Tyson, yeah, the thing is now what you never know is how serious is he?
Yeah.
How serious is he about it? Usyk takes him. Usyk takes it serious. He wants to be the best. I don't know if Tyson does, but listen, he hit him with that uppercut and he rocked him, didn't he? And I think, and he said, oh, I'm going in, like you said, against Wilder. I'm going in there to stop him. He probably thinks I was stronger than him. And sometimes it takes Tyson a fight to assess someone, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
for me, I think he'll do. I don't know. Sometimes I think, do I want him to get beat now just so I can see him fight AJ? Because I think that's still a bigger fight. So
Yeah.
I think it makes more sense now. So, but I think he's got the capabilities of beating him. He's good enough to beat him.
That,
But Uzyk's one of the best fighters I've seen.
yeah, I think most agrees one of the greatest ever, pound for pound. You mentioned AJ there, of course, suffered that big defeat against Daniel. Do you think AJ's really only got a couple of big fights left in him, and is he ready to pick up that mantle for British boxing at the top?
I think Daniel's tough. I know he got a thing here. I think he got tied against Uzi. As looking at as a heavyweight, personally, he's a big heavy man. He's very muscular. He got tired. He got tired. He got jabbed, and I think he just started getting to him. And I think he thought, I'm going to get stopped there. But I know a lot of people say, well, if you're a world champion, you go out and you shield. But I think he was just exhausted, and I think he thought he couldn't see a thing against Joyce. So, but I think he's a lot tougher than what people make out Daniel to be.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think he'll do really well. Daniel, I can't see him. He's at that level, and he's just knocked AJ out now. How good's AJ? So he's got to be up there, and he took a few whacks off AJ, even though he fell back a bit. But who wouldn't? If you said to someone off AJ's whacked you with his pair of 10-ounce gloves, most people would fall back. But AJ, I don't know. He's how much he's worth, a few $100 million now. He's got to be, and so how say I don't know how serious you take it when you're worth that much money. Hopefully I find out one day. But he's going to fight Fury, and that's got to be it. And I think, to be honest, it makes sense if he fought Wilder and then fought Fury and fought Fury. I think that's the only way for him to go. I wouldn't have even took that fight against Daniel. To be honest, I know he wants to be a 3-world champion. He should have just waited to fight Tyson, or he fought on the undercard of that fight. He should have just waited and fought. I think it's done his credit. No good. It's still a huge fight, him and Tyson, but it's not as big as what it should have been.
Alas, that's the boxing politics we as fans got to put up with. Got to ask you then. I mean, what's the dream for you? A big fight at Riverside, Middlesbrough could do with.
I'd love to be able to bring a title home and fight at the Riverside, regardless of whatever they offer me elsewhere. I know a lot of people you'll end up Saudi, it's a place that you fight for a British or European or a world title now, and it's in Saudi. But I would love to be able to fight over here and bring it home in the Riverside. But a lot of people, everyone always asks me the question of what do you want to achieve, and my always answer is, listen, I just want to be the best possible fighter I can be. I just want to fight everyone who I can fight, take fights, be in with the best. And I think that's the best fight. I want to try and be remembered as a good fighter. Everyone says, I want to be world champion, I want to be this, I want to be that. But listen, there's been world champions who you can't remember. So I think the aim for me, the aim in boxing is to be a great champion in the aspects of be a great fighter. Be a great fighter and be someone who they'll remember.
That is a great point you make. How many world champions have we not heard of? And then there's other guys who've just put on great fights that we do remember. Outside of boxing, finally, you mentioned you've got a daughter. So are you a family man? Do you have other interests outside of boxing, or is it just your family and your boxing?
No, listen. I enjoy my life. I enjoy going out, enjoying going places. Obviously, listen, the baby is the most important thing in the world to me. So I've never ever my little Ophelia is never it's everything's for her now. Everything's for her, and this is why it's given me this bit more drive now, even more so to try and give her a life like most fathers. Try and give her the best of what I can give her, and give her the most, and give her the best opportunities. And that's what it's about now. So I just want to be able to take care of her and hopefully show her more of the world than what I've seen.
That's a beautiful dream, and yeah, let's hope you're well on your way to achieving that for her and your daughter. All right, Will, it's been a pleasure getting to know you and introducing you to the fans. So I'd urge all fans, don't forget those guys, our brothers up in the Northeast. There's a hell of a lot of talent up there, and I hope you get that big fight at Riverside, because I want to trip up there myself.
Yeah, cheers. I'll give you ringside, pal. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Will, absolute pleasure. We look forward to seeing you out in a couple of weeks, and yeah, we'll hopefully see you in some big fights soon.
Cheers, pal. Thank you very much.